r/ProRevenge, my twin slapped me after I exposed her affair with my BF. My twin slapped me after I exposed her affair with my BF. The photo was still loading on my phone screen when I heard them in the next room. Maya's breathless laugh, the one she usually reserved for me when we shared secrets, followed by Jake's low murmur against what I could only assume was her neck. I'd come home early from my statistics study group because I'd forgotten my charger. Our shared apartment was supposed to be empty. Maya had texted me 20 minutes ago saying she was at the library, and Jake wasn't supposed to be here until dinner. Yet there were his sneakers by the door, carelessly kicked off next to my sister's favorite boots. The photo finished loading. Jake's hands tangled in hair that looked exactly like mine, because genetically, it was. Maya's face tilted up toward his, eyes closed, completely lost in a kiss that should have been mine. The timestamp showed it was from last week, taken at the coffee shop where Jake and I had our first date 2 years ago. My hands were surprisingly steady as I scrolled through the rest. 15 photos, all sent anonymously to my Instagram DMs an hour ago. Jake and Maya holding hands across a restaurant table. Maya wearing the necklace Jake claimed he'd lost. The two of them in his car, her legs across his lap. And the final one, taken through Jake's bedroom window, that left absolutely nothing to imagination. The sounds from Maya's room had gone quiet. I could have confronted them right then. Could have burst through that door and screamed until the neighbors called campus security. Instead, I screenshot every single photo, backed them up to 3 different cloud accounts, and walked out of the apartment. Grandma Chen's 80th birthday party was in 6 hours. The entire extended family would be there, all 4 of our aunts, our cousins from Portland, and Mom's church friends who'd known Maya and me since we were in diapers. Jake was supposed to be my date. He'd been talking about it for weeks, excited to finally meet our relatives who lived out of state. I drove to campus and printed the photos at the library. High resolution, 8 by 10 glossy prints that captured every detail. While they printed, I created a group chat with every family member I had contact info for. Then I drove to the community center where Grandma's party was being set up. Maya arrived 30 minutes after me, Jake's hand possessive on her lower back as they walked in together. She'd even worn the red dress I'd helped her pick out last month, except she'd told me it was for a job interview. "There's my other granddaughter." Grandma Chen called out, her face lighting up as she spotted Maya. "And this must be the boyfriend I keep hearing about." Maya's smile faltered when she saw me standing behind Grandma's chair. For a split second, her mask slipped, and I saw something I'd never seen in my twin's eyes before. Fear. "Actually, Grandma," I said, pulling out my phone and opening the group chat I'd created, "I have something really interesting to share with everyone about Maya's new boyfriend." Jake went pale. Maya's hand shot out like she was going to grab my phone, but she caught herself just in time, probably remembering we had an audience. "Everyone might want to gather around," I continued, my voice carrying across the room as conversations died down. "I have some photos to show you all." Maya's been so secretive about her love life lately, but I finally figured out why. I hit send on the group chat and watched as phones started buzzing around the room. The first gasp came from Aunt Linda, who'd always been the quickest to check her phone. Her hand flew to her mouth as she stared at the screen, then looked up at Maya with undisguised shock. "What the hell is this?" Uncle Tom's voice boomed across the room as more phones chimed with notifications. His face was already flushing red, the same way Dad's did when he got angry. Maya lunged forward, desperation replacing the fear in her eyes. "Emma, don't do this. Please, we can talk about this privately. Like you talked to me privately before you started fucking my boyfriend?" The words came out louder than I intended, and I saw Grandma Chen's eyes widen. I'd never sworn in front of her before, but there was something liberating about watching Maya's perfect facade crumble in real time. Jake had gone from pale to green. He was backing toward the exit, but cousin Derek, who'd played linebacker in college, had somehow ended up between Jake and the door. Derek's phone was in his hand, and his expression suggested he'd seen enough. 2 years, I continued, my voice carrying to every corner of the room. Jake and I had been together for 2 years. Maya knew that. She helped me pick out his birthday presents. She listened to me cry when I thought he was losing interest. I laughed, and it sounded bitter even to my own ears. Turns out I was right, he was just losing interest in me specifically. "Emma, stop," Maya whispered, but her voice cracked on my name. "This isn't what it looks like." "Really?" I held up one of the printed photos, the one of them in his car. "Because it looks like my identical twin sister has been playing dress up with my life." Mom appeared at my elbow, her face stricken as she looked between Maya and me. "Girls, maybe we should take this outside." "No." The word came out sharper than I meant it to. Maya made her choice to do this publicly every time she showed up to family events asking about Jake. Every time she pretended to give me relationship advice while she was screwing him behind my back. Every time she looked Grandma in the eye and talked about how important family loyalty was. That last part hit home. I could see it in the way Grandma's shoulders straightened, in how her lips pressed into a thin line. Family loyalty was everything to her generation. It was the cornerstone of every lecture she'd given us growing up. Jake finally found his voice. "Look, this whole situation got complicated." "Complicated?" Derek stepped closer to Jake, and suddenly my cousin looked a lot more intimidating than I remembered. "You were cheating on Emma with her sister." "What's complicated about that?" More family members were gathering around us now, phones in hand, expressions ranging from shocked to disgusted to fascinated. I could see the exact moment each person processed what they were looking at, the double takes as they tried to figure out which twin was which in the photos, the dawning understanding of just how deliberate this betrayal had been. Maya's hands were shaking now. "Jake, say something. Tell them it's not." But Jake was done. He pushed past Derek with more force than necessary and headed for the door. "I'm not doing this here. This is insane." "You're not doing this at all anymore," I called after him, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. "Because everyone you know is about to see exactly what kind of person you are." Maya whirled around to face me, her eyes blazing. "What does that mean?" I smiled for the first time all day. "It means this is just the beginning." The slap came so fast I didn't see it coming. 1 second I was savoring the look of panic spreading across Maya's face, and the next my cheek was on fire, my head snapped to the side from the force of her palm. The sound echoed through the community center like a gunshot, and suddenly the room went dead silent. I touched my cheek, feeling the heat radiating from where her hand had connected. When I looked back at Maya, she was staring at her own palm like she couldn't believe what she'd just done. Her chest was heaving, and for the first time since we were kids, she looked completely out of control. Maya. Mom's voice cracked like a whip. How could you? She's ruining everything. Maya's voice pitched higher, bordering on hysterical. This is Grandma's birthday, and she's destroying our entire family over some stupid. Some stupid what? I interrupted, my own voice deadly calm despite the throbbing in my cheek. Some stupid 2-year relationship? Some stupid betrayal by the 2 people I trusted most in the world? Grandma Chen stood up from her chair, her tiny frame somehow commanding the attention of everyone in the room. At 80, she barely reached my shoulder, but when she spoke, her voice carried the weight of decades. Maya, she said quietly, you hit your sister. The disappointment in those 6 words was devastating. I watched Maya's face crumple as the reality of what she'd done, not just the affair, but striking me in front of our grandmother, fully sink in. Grandma, I didn't mean. In my day, Grandma continued, as if Maya hadn't spoken, family was sacred. We protected each other. We sacrificed for each other. We did not steal from each other, and we certainly did not raise our hands in violence. Uncle Tom was recording everything on his phone now, and I could see at least 3 other relatives doing the same. In the age of social media, Maya's meltdown was being preserved in high definition from multiple angles. Put the phones away, Dad said sharply, appearing beside Mom. His jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle twitching. This is still family business. But it was too late for that, and we all knew it. The photos I'd shared were already making their way beyond our family group chat. I could see Cousin Sarah showing her boyfriend, Aunt Linda forwarding messages to people I didn't recognize. Maya seemed to realize this at the same moment I did. Her eyes darted around the room, taking in all the phones, all the faces staring at her with mixtures of disgust and fascination. This isn't fair, she whispered, but her voice carried in the silence. Emma, you don't understand. Jake and I, we didn't plan for this to happen. It just what? I stepped closer to her, and she actually flinched. Good. It just happened 15 different times? It just happened at the coffee shop where Jake took me on our first date? It just happened in his bed while you were supposed to be at the library? Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. You want to know what's not fair? I continued, pulling out my phone again. What's not fair is that this is just what I found today. What's not fair is wondering how long this has been going on. What's not fair is realizing that every single piece of relationship advice she gave me was probably designed to sabotage what I had with him. Maya's eyes widened as she realized where I was going with this. So let me tell you what's going to happen next, I said, my finger hovering over my phone screen. We're going to have a very public conversation about trust. About secrets. About all the things you never thought I'd have the backbone to share. Her face went white as she understood the threat. Emma, she breathed, you wouldn't. I smiled, and this time it felt like baring teeth. Try me. You want to know about secrets, Maya? I kept my voice conversational, almost friendly, but I could see the terror creeping into her eyes. Let's start with something recent. Like how you've been taking Adderall that isn't prescribed to you to get through your finals. The gasp that went through the room was audible. Maya's face went from white to gray. Emma, don't. Or maybe we should talk about the real reason you got that academic merit scholarship. I scrolled through my phone, finding the screenshots I'd saved months ago when she drunkenly confessed everything to me. Remember Professor Harrison's research paper that you submitted as your own work? The one worth 40% of your grade in advanced statistics? Stop. Maya's voice was barely a whisper now, but I was just getting started. Mom stepped between us. Emma, honey, this has gone far enough. We need to handle this privately. Like Maya handled sleeping with my boyfriend privately? I looked around the room, making eye contact with each family member. No, Mom. Maya made this choice when she decided to humiliate me. When she slapped me in front of everyone. Now she gets to live with the consequences. Aunt Linda was frantically typing on her phone. I had a feeling she was trying to do damage control, but it was too late. Uncle Tom was still recording, and I could see the little red light that meant he was live streaming to Facebook. The money, I continued, and Maya actually staggered backward. Should we talk about the money you've been skimming from Mom and Dad's account? The account you have access to for emergency textbooks? That's enough. Dad's voice boomed across the room, but I could see the shock in his eyes. He was looking at Maya like he'd never seen her before. Is it true? Grandma Chen's voice cut through Dad's bluster like a blade. She was still standing, still radiating that quiet authority that had kept our family in line for decades. Maya, did you steal from your parents? Maya's mouth worked soundlessly for a moment before she found her voice. It wasn't stealing, exactly. I was going to pay it back. How much? Dad's voice was deadly quiet now. Maya looked around the room desperately, as if searching for an ally, but everyone was staring at her with expressions ranging from disappointment to disgust. Even Cousin Sarah, who'd always been Maya's favorite, had taken a step back. About $1,500, Maya whispered. Mom made a sound like she'd been punched. $1,500? Maya, we've been eating rice and beans for dinner because we thought money was tight. Your father picked up extra shifts. I was going to pay it back. Maya's voice cracked. I just needed it for 4 things. School things. And rent money when my roommate moved out unexpectedly. What about Jake's Christmas present? I asked sweetly. The expensive watch you bought him. Was that a school thing too? The silence that followed was deafening. I could practically see the pieces clicking into place in my parents' minds, the mysterious financial shortfalls, Maya's sudden generosity with gifts, the way she'd always seemed to have money for things when they were struggling. Jake's watch. The one that had cost more than Maya's monthly allowance. The one she'd somehow afforded while claiming to be broke. The one she'd worn in one of the photos I'd found, her wrist draped possessively across his chest. You bought him a watch, Mom said slowly, with money you stole from us. Maya's composure finally shattered completely. Tears started streaming down her face, but they weren't the pretty, delicate tears she'd perfected for getting out of trouble. These were ugly, desperate sobs that made her makeup run in dark streaks down her cheeks. You don't understand, she choked out. I love him. We love each other. This whole thing with Emma was just convenience. Jake was too scared to break up with her properly. Another slap echoed through the room. This time, it was Mom who'd done the hitting. The silence after Mom's slap was different from the one after Maya's. This wasn't shock, this was a kind of heavy, suffocating quiet that comes right before everything explodes. Mom was staring at her own hand like she couldn't believe what she'd just done. In 22 years, I had never seen our mother raise her hand to either of us. Not once. Maya was frozen, her cheek already showing the red outline of Mom's fingers. Linda, Dad's voice was hoarse, you didn't need to. Convenience? Mom's voice was shaking with a rage I'd never heard from her before. You called your sister convenience? Your twin sister who shared a wound with you, who defended you when kids made fun of your stutter in 3rd grade, who gave you her kidney when you had that infection. I gave her my kidney, Maya interrupted desperately. Emma got mine. Because yours was the better match. Mom screamed, and several relatives actually stepped back. Because you volunteered. Because that's what family does for each other. The kidney surgery. I'd forgotten that everyone here knew about that. When we were 16, I developed a severe kidney infection that led to organ failure. Maya had been the one to offer her kidney before anyone even asked. She'd held my hand through the surgery prep, promised we'd have matching scars, told me it meant we'd be connected forever. Looking at those scars now, hers hidden under her dress, mine covered by my sweater, felt like staring at evidence of a murder. That's not fair, Maya whispered, touching her cheek where Mom had hit her. You can't use that against me. That was different. That was medical. This is just complicated. Complicated? Grandma Chen's voice cut through the chaos. She was looking at Maya with an expression I'd never seen before, complete and utter disappointment. Child, you stole money from your parents to buy gifts for your sister's boyfriend. The same sister who carries a piece of you inside her body. What exactly is complicated about that? Uncle Tom's phone was still recording, and I could see the viewer count climbing on his Facebook livestream. 57 people watching our family implode in real time. By tomorrow, this would be everywhere. Maya seemed to realize this too. Her eyes darted to the phone, then back to me, and I saw something shift in her expression. The desperate, pleading look was hardening into something else. Something calculating. You know what, Emma? Maya straightened up, wiping the mascara streaks from her face with the back of her hand. You want to play this game? Fine. Let's play. A chill ran down my spine. I knew that tone. I'd heard it exactly twice before in our lives, once when she'd systematically destroyed our neighbor's garden after he complained about our dog, and once when she'd gotten our high school guidance counselor fired after he'd refused to change her grade. Should we talk about why you really needed that kidney, Emma? Maya's voice was getting steadier, more confident. Should we tell everyone about your little habit that landed you in the hospital in the first place? My blood turned to ice. Maya, don't. Oh, now you want privacy? She laughed, but there was nothing funny about it. Should we discuss your eating disorder? How you were taking those diet pills you ordered online? The ones that destroyed your kidney function? That's not, I started, but she was already turning to address the room. My saint of a sister nearly killed herself with black market diet pills because she was so jealous that I weighed 5 pounds less than her. The room erupted. The room erupted into chaos, but all I could hear was the roaring in my ears. Maya was still talking, her voice getting stronger and more vicious with each word, but I felt like I was underwater. She was obsessed, Maya continued, playing to her audience now. Weighing herself 3 times a day, measuring her thighs with a tape measure, crying when she couldn't fit into my jeans. So she found some website that sold miracle weight loss pills and started taking them like candy. Maya, stop it right now. Dad's voice was sharp, but she ignored him completely. The pills were basically speed mixed with God knows what else. She was taking twice the recommended dose because she wanted results faster. Her heart rate was through the roof, she wasn't sleeping, and her kidneys started shutting down from the toxins. I could see the shift happening in the room. Aunt Linda's expression was changing from disgust at Maya's behavior to concern for me. Cousin Sarah was looking at me with pity. Even Grandma Chen's stern disappointment was softening into something that looked dangerously close to sympathy. But we couldn't tell anyone the real reason, Maya pressed on, because perfect Emma couldn't handle anyone knowing she wasn't naturally thin. So we let everyone think it was a random infection. A freak medical event. And I gave up my kidney to cover for her vanity. That's enough. Mom stepped toward Maya again, but Maya held her ground this time. Is it, Mom? Because Emma seems to think that exposing family secrets is fair game now. So let's keep going. Maya's eyes were bright with malicious triumph. Should we talk about Emma's college applications? How she wrote her admissions essay about overcoming a mysterious illness and got into state with a full scholarship based on sympathy? My scholarship. The one that was paying for my entire education. The one that was contingent on maintaining good standing and, more importantly, not having been obtained through fraudulent means. Should we discuss how she's been seeing a therapist for 3 years but telling everyone it's just academic counseling? Or how about the fact that she still takes appetite suppressants, legal ones now, but still. Each revelation hit like a physical blow. These weren't just secrets Maya was exposing, they were weapons she'd been storing up, waiting for the right moment to destroy me with. Maya. Jake's voice cut through her tirade. He'd been so quiet I'd almost forgotten he was there. This is insane. You need to stop. Maya whirled around to face him, and for a moment, her mask slipped completely. I saw raw panic in her eyes. You're defending her now? Maya's voice cracked. After everything? Jake, tell them. Tell them how Emma used to call you crying about how she was afraid I was prettier than her. Tell them about the list she kept, comparing our bodies. I said stop. Jake's voice was firm, and I was shocked to see genuine disgust on his face as he looked at Maya. This is sick, Maya. What you're doing right now is sick. Sick? Maya laughed, but it sounded hysterical. I'm sick? She's the one who. You slept with your sister's boyfriend. Cousin David's voice boomed from the back of the room. Your twin sister. And now you're trying to humiliate her because she caught you? We're in love. Maya screamed, and her voice broke completely. We're in love and you're all acting like it's some kind of crime. The livestream viewer count had hit over 200. In love? The voice came from behind me, and everyone turned to see who had spoken. It was Jake, but his expression wasn't what any of us expected. He looked disgusted. Not heartbroken, not conflicted. Disgusted. Maya, we were never in love. His words fell into the stunned silence like stones into still water. This was never about love. Maya's face went completely white. What are you talking about? Jake, don't. I have screenshots, Jake said quietly, pulling out his phone. Should I read some of them out loud? The messages where you called Emma pathetically naive? The ones where you said sleeping with me was just a way to prove you were better than her? My legs nearly gave out. I grabbed onto the nearest chair for support as Jake's words sank in. This wasn't a love affair. This was something so much worse. Jake, no, that's not. You're taking those out of context. Maya was backing away from him, her hands raised defensively. Context? Jake's laugh was bitter. What context makes I love watching her trust me when I'm thinking about last night sound better, Maya? The room was so quiet I could hear Uncle Tom's phone buzzing with notifications from his livestream. 300 viewers now. Or how about this one, Jake continued, scrolling through his phone. Emma actually thanked me for being patient with her trust issues. If she only knew her own sister is the reason she can't trust anyone. That was after our second time together, Maya. You thought it was hilarious. I was going to be sick. Actually physically sick. The betrayal was so complete, so calculated, that I couldn't process it. Every conversation Maya and I had shared about my relationship with Jake, every piece of advice she'd given me, every time she'd comforted me when I worried I wasn't good enough for him, it had all been a lie. Worse than a lie. It had been research for her own twisted game. That's not who I am, Maya whispered, but her voice carried no conviction. Jake, you know that's not who I am. Isn't it? Jake's voice was getting stronger, like he was finally releasing something he'd been holding back. Because I've got 6 months of messages that say otherwise. 6 months of you telling me how much you enjoyed deceiving Emma. How you got off on being the better twin. Mom made a sound that might have been a sob. Dad was staring at Maya like he'd never seen her before. Even our relatives who barely knew us looked horrified. This was all a game to you, I managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. Everything. Our whole lives. It was all just a competition to you. Maya's eyes darted around the room, looking for an ally, an escape, anything. But there was nowhere to run from this. Not with hundreds of people watching online and our entire family as witnesses. You don't understand, Maya said desperately. You've always been everyone's favorite, Emma. Perfect grades, perfect attitude, perfect everything. Do you know what it's like living in your shadow? My shadow? I stared at her in disbelief. Maya, you were the popular one. You were the one everyone wanted to be around. You were the one who never struggled with anything. Because I had to be. Maya screamed. Because if I wasn't perfect in a different way, I'd just be your inferior copy. The livestream count hit 450. By tomorrow, everyone we'd ever known would see this. Our future employers, our classmates, our extended family who lived across the country. There would be no hiding from this, no pretending it never happened. But looking at Maya now, at the complete destruction in her eyes, I realized something that chilled me to the bone. She still wasn't done. Maya wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, and when she looked up, I saw something that made my blood freeze. It was the same look she used to get when we were kids, and she was about to break something irreplaceable just to watch me cry. You want to know about shadows, Emma? Maya's voice had gone eerily calm. Let me tell you about real secrets. The kind that destroy lives. Maya, don't. Mom's voice was pleading now. Whatever you're thinking, don't do this. But Maya was already pulling out her own phone, scrolling through something with deliberate precision. See, the thing about being twins is that we know each other's passwords. We always have. Emma never changed hers after the kidney surgery, she was too out of it from the painkillers to remember. My stomach dropped. My phone. She'd had access to my phone for months while I was recovering. Maya, I started, but she was already speaking. So I have access to Emma's photos. All of them. Including the ones she sends to guys who aren't her boyfriend. Maya's smile was arctic. Turns out perfect little Emma has been talking to more than just Jake. The room went dead silent except for the soft ping of Uncle Tom's phone as more viewers joined his livestream. 500 now. That's not true, I whispered, but even as I said it, my mind was racing. There had been photos. Nothing explicit, but flirty selfies I'd sent to Marcus from my chemistry class when Jake and I were going through a rough patch 2 months ago. Photos I deleted immediately after sending them, filled with guilt. Should I show everyone the conversation with Marcus Chen? Maya asked, her thumb hovering over her screen. The one where you told him you were thinking about breaking up with Jake. Or maybe the photos you sent him? Nothing too scandalous, but definitely not something you'd want Jake to see. Marcus. Marcus Chen was Grandma Chen's nephew's son. He was supposed to start an internship at Dad's accounting firm next month, an internship Dad had personally recommended him for. Maya, please, I breathed. Don't do this. Or we could talk about your little shopping problem, Maya continued, her voice sing-song now. The credit card you opened without telling Mom and Dad. The one that's currently maxed out at $8,000. Dad's face went white. Emma? The credit card. I'd opened it during my recovery, telling myself I just needed a few things to feel better. New clothes since I'd lost weight. Some makeup. A new laptop since mine was running slowly. But then it spiraled. Every time I felt bad about the kidney situation, or guilty about the scholarship, I'd buy something small. Then something bigger. I'd been making minimum payments with money from my campus job, but the balance kept climbing. Show them the shopping apps on your phone, Emma. Show them the packages you've been having delivered to Sarah's dorm so Mom and Dad wouldn't see. Show them the jewelry and the designer clothes stuffed in the back of your closet. Cousin Sarah was staring at me now, and I could see the recognition dawning on her face. She'd been signing for packages for me for months, never questioning why I needed them sent to her room instead of home. $8,000, Maya repeated, savoring each word. While our parents are working overtime to pay for college expenses you told them you didn't have because of your scholarship. Uncle Tom's phone buzzed. 600 viewers. Jake was looking at me like he'd never seen me before. Not with disgust like he'd looked at Maya, but with something worse. Disappointment. Complete and utter disappointment. And the best part? Maya's grin was victorious. She's been paying for it with money she made selling her old kidney medication. The leftover pain pills and anti-rejection drugs. To other students. The room erupted. The accusation hit like a physical blow, but this time I found my voice immediately. That's a lie. I screamed, louder than I'd ever screamed in my life. I never sold my medication. Maya, that's completely false. But the damage was already done. I could see it in everyone's faces, the doubt, the horror, the way they were all stepping back from me like I was contaminated. Selling prescription medication was a felony. It was the kind of accusation that could destroy everything, my scholarship, my future, my freedom. Prove it, Maya said simply, crossing her arms. Show everyone your medicine cabinet. Show them where all those bottles of OxyContin went. Because I know for a fact you were prescribed enough for 3 months of recovery, and it was all gone in 6 weeks. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. Because I threw them away. I was scared of getting addicted, so I flushed them down the toilet when the pain got manageable. Convenient story, Maya said, but I caught something in her eyes, a flicker of uncertainty. It's the truth. I turned to face our parents, desperate. Mom, Dad, you know me. You know I would never. But we didn't know about the credit card, Dad said quietly. His voice was hollow. We didn't know about the other boy. What else don't we know, Emma? Uncle Tom's phone buzzed incessantly. 700 viewers now. 700 strangers watching our family implode in real time. Then Jake spoke up, and his voice cut through everything else. Maya's lying about the drugs. Everyone turned to stare at him. Maya's face went pale. What? She whispered. You're lying about Emma selling her medication, Jake said, his voice gaining strength. Because you told me what really happened to those pills. You took them. The silence that followed was deafening. You told me Emma was being dramatic about her pain levels and didn't need all those pills. You said you were helping her avoid addiction by taking them and disposing of them yourself. But you didn't dispose of them, did you, Maya? Maya was backing toward the wall now, shaking her head frantically. Jake, no, you're misunderstanding. You've been taking Emma's leftover pain medication for months. That's why you've been so different lately. That's why you've been making such insane decisions. You're high half the time we're together. Mom gasped. Maya? And the credit card thing? Jake wasn't done. Maya knew about it because she's been using it too. Those shopping apps on Emma's phone? Maya has access to them. She's been ordering things for herself and having them sent to Sarah's room, knowing Emma would think she ordered them during her recovery fog and just forgot. I stared at Jake in shock. Everything was starting to make sense. The packages I didn't remember ordering, the credit card balance that seemed to climb faster than my purchases could account for, the way Maya always seemed to know exactly what was in my order history. That's not true, Maya said, but her voice was barely a whisper now. Show them your room, Maya, Jake challenged. Show them all the clothes and jewelry that match Emma's recent purchases. Show them the pill bottle hidden in your makeup bag. Maya's face crumbled. The mask she'd been wearing, the righteous anger, the calculated revenge, it all fell away, leaving behind something broken and desperate. But instead of confessing, instead of apologizing, Maya did something that proved just how far gone she really was. She turned to Uncle Tom's livestream and smiled directly into the camera. Hi everyone, she said, her voice eerily cheerful. I'm Maya Chan, and I have something important to tell all of Emma's future employers who are probably watching this. 800 viewers and climbing. I felt my blood turn to ice as Maya stared directly into Uncle Tom's phone camera, her smile growing wider and more unhinged by the second. Since we're all sharing secrets tonight, Maya said, her voice taking on a sing-song quality that made my skin crawl, let me tell you about my dear sister Emma's academic achievements. Maya, stop, Mom whispered, but Maya was beyond hearing anyone now. Emma Chan, currently a junior at State University on a full academic scholarship, has been cheating her way through college for the past year and a half. Maya's voice carried clearly through the suddenly silent room. She pays other students to write her papers, uses hidden notes during exams, and has been accessing professors' computers using stolen passwords. The room erupted in gasps, but I was frozen in place, watching this nightmare unfold. Because Maya wasn't entirely lying. There had been 2 instances, just 2, where I'd panicked before major exams during my recovery period and asked my study group if anyone had old tests. And once, just once, I'd let my lab partner write most of our joint chemistry report because I was too exhausted from medication to think straight. Show them your laptop, Emma, Maya continued to the camera. Show them the folder labeled study materials that's actually full of purchased essays and stolen exam answers. Dad stepped forward, his face ashen. Emma, please tell me this isn't true. It's not. I protested, but my voice cracked. Maya, you know it's not like that. You helped me with that chemistry report when I was barely functioning from the pain medication. You said it would be okay, that it was just temporary. Maya's laugh was sharp and bitter. Oh, so now it's my fault? I forced you to cheat? Jake was staring at both of us like we were strangers. What is happening here? Who are you people? But Maya wasn't finished. She pulled out her own phone and started typing something rapidly. I'm sending screenshots of Emma's study materials folder to the State University Academic Integrity Board right now, she announced to the camera. I'm sure they'll be very interested to review her scholarship status. No. I lunged toward her, but Aunt Lisa caught my arm. And while we're at it, Maya continued, her fingers flying over her phone screen, let me send these photos of Emma with Marcus to Jake's intramural basketball team. I'm sure they'll love to know what their captain's girlfriend does behind his back. Uncle Tom was staring at his phone in horror. There are over 1,000 people watching this, he whispered. Maya, Emma, please stop. This is being recorded. This will be online forever. But Maya seemed energized by the audience. Perfect. Then everyone will know exactly who Emma Chen really is before they hire her or date her or trust her with anything important. I felt everything I'd worked for, my scholarship, my reputation, my future, crumbling around me. But as I watched Maya's manic performance, something else crystallized in my mind. This wasn't just about Jake anymore. This wasn't even about revenge. Maya was having some kind of breakdown, and she was determined to take me down with her. You know what the worst part is? I said, my voice cutting through Maya's monologue. The room went quiet again. I was going to forgive you. Maya's typing stopped. She looked up at me, confusion flickering across her face. Even after finding you with Jake. Even after all this. I was going to forgive you because you're my sister, and I love you, and I thought maybe we could work through this. I felt tears streaming down my face. But this? Destroying my education, my future, everything I've worked for? You're not the sister I saved anymore. Maya's phone slipped from her hands, clattering onto the floor. What do you mean, the sister you saved? Maya's voice was barely a whisper. The question hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. I could see everyone in the room lean forward slightly, sensing that we'd reached some crucial moment. Uncle Tom's phone showed over 1,200 viewers now, all watching this twisted family drama unfold. Emma, Mom said carefully, what are you talking about? I looked at Maya, really looked at her. Her face had gone completely white, and for the first time tonight, genuine fear flickered in her eyes. She knew exactly what I was talking about. She was silently begging me not to say it. Tell them, Maya, I said softly. Tell them why you're really doing all this. Tell them what happened when we were 16. Emma, don't. Maya's voice broke. Please. But I was done protecting her. Done keeping her secrets while she systematically destroyed my life in front of strangers. Maya tried to kill herself our junior year of high school, I said to the room. Sleeping pills. I found her in our bathroom at 2 a.m. and called 911. I rode with her in the ambulance, held her hand while they pumped her stomach, and never told anyone what really drove her to do it. Jake stepped forward. Maya, is this true? Maya was shaking now, tears streaming down her face. Emma, stop. You promised you'd never. I found the note, I continued, my voice getting stronger. The suicide note where Maya confessed to stealing money from the local food bank where she volunteered. $8,000 over 6 months. Money that was supposed to feed homeless families. She was gambling it away on those online poker sites. Gasps echoed around the room. Aunt Lisa covered her mouth in shock. She was going to let the volunteer coordinator take the blame, I pressed on. Mrs. Patterson, who had 3 kids and was barely making ends meet herself. Maya was going to let that woman go to prison rather than confess. That's enough. Dad roared, but I couldn't stop now. I made a deal with her that night in the hospital. I would help her pay back the money using my college savings, and I would never tell anyone about the theft or the attempt, but she had to promise to get help. Real help. Maya was sobbing now, but her tears only made me angrier. I gave up my first choice college because I couldn't afford it anymore. I took out loans, worked 3 jobs through high school, all to save Maya's reputation and Mrs. Patterson's life. And Maya promised me she was getting better. She promised me she was done with destructive behavior. I gestured around the room at the chaos we'd created. Does this look like someone who's gotten better? Uncle Tom's phone was buzzing constantly. Comments were flooding in faster than he could read them. Someone in the chat had apparently recognized Maya's name and was asking if this was the same Maya Chen who'd been dating their cousin in the next town over. Wait, Jake said slowly, Maya, have you been seeing other people this whole time? Not just Emma's boyfriend, but other guys too? Maya's silence was deafening. Cousin Sarah suddenly spoke up from the corner where she'd been quietly watching. Maya, those packages that had been coming to my dorm room, some of them had cards in them. Cards signed Love, David, and Miss You, Tyler. The puzzle pieces were clicking into place for everyone. Maya wasn't just someone who'd made a mistake with my boyfriend. She was running some kind of elaborate scheme, juggling multiple relationships, using stolen money and false identities. How many? Mom whispered. How many boys are there, Maya? Maya looked trapped, cornered, like a wild animal with nowhere left to run. And that's when she did something that changed everything. She grabbed Uncle Tom's phone and ran. Maya bolted toward the front door with Uncle Tom's phone, but Cousin Mike was faster. He caught her around the waist just as she reached for the handle, and they both went crashing into Mom's antique coat rack. Let me go. Maya screamed, clawing at Mike's arms. I have to end the stream. I have to delete it. But it was too late. Uncle Tom was already pulling out his laptop, frantically trying to log into his account from there. It's still broadcasting, he said, panic in his voice. And someone screamed recording it. The chat is going crazy. I watched in horror as Maya fought like a cornered animal, and suddenly I realized what I'd done. In my anger, in my need for revenge, I'd just destroyed both our lives on live television. This wasn't going to stay in our family. This was going to follow us forever. Jake was backing toward the door. I can't. I need to leave. This is insane. He looked at me with something between pity and disgust. You're both crazy. You're actually both completely crazy. Jake, wait, I started, but he was already gone. 1,700 viewers now, Cousin Sarah said quietly, staring at her own phone. And it's been shared to Facebook. Emma, Maya, this is everywhere. Dad was trying to separate Maya and Mike, who were still struggling over the phone. Girls, stop this right now. We need to think about damage control. There is no damage control. Maya shrieked, finally wrenching free from Mike's grasp. Uncle Tom's phone skittered across the hardwood floor, the camera spinning wildly before landing face up, still streaming our chaos to the internet. Don't you understand? My job applications, my internship interviews, my dating profiles, everything is connected to my real name. I'm supposed to start at Davidson and Associates next month. That stopped me cold. What job at Davidson and Associates? Maya went very still. Mom stepped forward. Maya, you said you were still looking for work after graduation. Maya's eyes darted around the room like she was calculating escape routes. I was going to tell you about the job offer. What else haven't you told us? I asked, and I could hear the exhaustion creeping into my voice. Every answer led to 3 more questions, 3 more lies. Aunt Lisa was scrolling through her phone, her face growing paler by the second. Maya, there's a David Reeves asking in the comments if you ever actually broke up with your ex like you promised. And someone named Tyler wants to know if you're still planning to visit him next weekend. The room erupted in chaos again. Mom sank into her chair, looking like she'd aged 10 years in the last hour. Dad was pacing back and forth, muttering about lawyers and privacy violations. But what scared me most was the look on Maya's face. Not the manic energy from before, not even the panic. Just emptiness. Like she'd finally run out of lies and didn't know who she was without them. Maya, I said softly, how long has this been going on? Not just Jake. All of it. She looked at me with hollow eyes. You really want to know, Emma? You want the whole truth this time? Something in her tone made my blood run cold. After everything that had already come out tonight, what could possibly be worse? Since the hospital, she whispered. It all started the night you saved me. And I've been waiting 3 years for the perfect moment to make you pay for it. The live stream counter hit 2,000 viewers just as my world completely shattered. The silence that followed Maya's words was so complete I could hear the hum of Uncle Tom's laptop fan. 2,000 strangers were watching my family fall apart in real time, but all I could focus on was the cold smile spreading across my twin sister's face. Make me pay for saving your life? My voice came out as barely a whisper. Maya, what are you talking about? She laughed, and it was the most chilling sound I'd ever heard. You still don't get it, do you? Perfect Emma, always so naive. You didn't save me that night. You ruined everything. Mom stood up shakily. Maya, sweetheart, you're not making sense. Emma called the ambulance. She got you help. She destroyed my plan. Maya's voice cracked with rage. I had it all figured out. The money from the food bank, the fake identity I was building, the exit strategy. I was going to disappear, start over somewhere new. But Emma had to play hero. My knees felt weak. You were going to fake your own death? Mrs. Patterson was going to be blamed anyway, Maya continued, her words tumbling out faster now. But instead of a clean getaway, I got stuck with therapy, family meetings, everyone watching my every move. Do you know what it's like to have your whole family treat you like broken glass for 3 years? Aunt Lisa was recording everything on her phone now, tears streaming down her face. Maya, honey, we were trying to help you. Help me? Maya spun around to face the room. You all treated me like a problem to be solved. But Emma? Emma got to be the saint. The hero sister who sacrificed everything. Do you know how many times I've had to listen to people praise Emma for saving me? The live stream chat was exploding. Someone had identified Davidson and Associates and was posting their phone number. Another viewer claimed they recognized Maya from a dating app and was sharing screenshots. Uncle Tom looked horrified. We need to end this stream right now. No. Maya dove for his laptop, but Dad caught her arm. They need to see this. Everyone needs to know what Emma really is. What I really am. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Maya, I gave up everything for you. Exactly, she screamed. You made yourself into a martyr. Saint Emma, who worked 3 jobs and took out loans and went to community college instead of Stanford. Everyone felt so sorry for you, so proud of your sacrifice. But nobody asked what I wanted. Cousin Sarah's voice was shaky. Maya, what did you want? Maya's smile turned predatory. I wanted to disappear. And when I realized I couldn't, I decided to make Emma disappear instead. Slowly. Piece by piece. The room was spinning. Jake, you seduced Jake just to hurt me? Jake was just the beginning, Maya said. I've been systematically destroying your life for months, Emma. Your job recommendation letters? I hacked your email and made sure Professor Williams saw those drafts where you complained about his teaching. Your scholarship renewal? I made anonymous reports about your work performance at the tutoring center. Dad's face had gone gray. Maya, you sabotaged your own sister's future? She sabotaged mine first. Maya whirled around to face me. You want to know the real kicker? I wasn't even going to take those pills that night. They were just props for a photo I needed. But you came home early from your stupid study group. My world tilted sideways. Everything I believed about that night, about Maya's recovery, about our relationship, all lies. The therapy sessions where you drove me twice a week? I spent them planning this. Every family dinner where you checked on my progress? I was figuring out new ways to ruin you. The live stream counter hit 3,000 viewers. And then my phone started buzzing with calls from numbers I didn't recognize. The first unknown caller was from Davidson and Associates. I watched Maya's face crumble as Uncle Tom answered his buzzing phone and put it on speaker without thinking. Is this the residence where Maya Chen is located? The voice was crisp, professional, and absolutely furious. This is Richard Davidson. We've been made aware of a live stream featuring our incoming associate. Maya lunged for the phone, but Mike held her back. Sir, this is a private family matter. Not anymore it isn't, Mr. Davidson cut him off. We've had 17 calls in the past 10 minutes. Our clients don't associate with people who engage in public family destruction and systematic sabotage. Miss Chen's position has been terminated effective immediately. The line went dead. Maya let out a sound I'd never heard before, part scream, part sob, completely broken. But my phone kept buzzing. The second call was from Mrs. Rodriguez at the community college. Emma? I'm so sorry to bother you, but we've received several calls about a video involving you and your sister. The dean wants to see you first thing Monday morning. My stomach dropped. Mrs. Rodriguez, I can explain. Honey, you don't need to explain anything to me. But there are complications. Someone called claiming you've been cheating, using your sister to take exams for you. We know it's probably not true, but with everything being so public. I looked at Maya, who was watching me with those hollow eyes again. Did you? I told them we switched places for your organic chemistry final last semester, she said matter-of-factly. And that you paid me to write your scholarship essays. Those are lies. Prove it. Maya's smile was razor-sharp. Prove we didn't switch places. We're identical twins, Emma. Who's going to believe we haven't been trading identities our whole lives? The livestream chat had become a detective forum. Viewers were cross-referencing our social media posts, looking for inconsistencies. Someone had found Maya's dating profiles, all 5 of them, with different names, different stories. Oh God, cousin Sarah breed, reading the comments. Maya, there's a guy here saying you borrowed $3,000 from him last month. And another one. Jesus, how many people were you dating? As many as it took, Maya said. Do you know how expensive it is to slowly ruin someone's life? Credit checks, background verification services, fake references. I've been investing in Emma's destruction for months. Dad was frantically trying to call our lawyer, but it was Saturday night. Mom hadn't spoken in 10 minutes, she just kept staring at Maya like she was looking at a stranger. Then Aunt Lisa's phone rang. The caller ID made everyone freeze. Stanford admissions office. Why would Stanford be calling? Mom whispered. Maya's face went white. Don't answer that. But Aunt Lisa was already swiping to answer. Hello? We're trying to reach Emma Chen. We've received some concerning information about her academic integrity, and we need to discuss her deferred enrollment status. The room started spinning. My deferred enrollment? I never. Maya, Dad's voice was deadly quiet. What did you do? I may have accepted Stanford's admission offer in Emma's name, she whispered. And then deferred it for a gap year. I was planning to assume your identity gradually. 4,000 viewers now. The chat was screaming about identity theft, fraud, federal crimes. My phone buzzed with a text from Jake. The whole campus is watching this. Emma, what have you done to our lives? But the worst part was realizing Maya was right about one thing. After tonight, nobody would ever be able to tell our lies apart. The Stanford admissions officer was still on the line when Detective Morrison walked through our front door. We received multiple calls about identity theft and fraud happening live on social media, he said, looking around our destroyed living room. I'm going to need to speak with both Emma and Maya Chen. Maya finally broke. Not the calculated breakdown she'd performed so many times before, but something real and raw and terrifying. She collapsed onto the couch, sobbing uncontrollably as the weight of what she'd done, and what was happening to her, finally hit. I just wanted my life back, she kept repeating. I just wanted everyone to stop looking at me like I was broken. Detective Morrison was surprisingly gentle as he explained that accepting college admission under someone else's name was fraud, that the financial schemes Maya had admitted to on livestream were criminal, that the systematic sabotage could qualify as harassment or stalking. But then something unexpected happened. Mom, who'd been silent through Maya's confessions, finally spoke. Officer, my daughter needs help. Real help, not punishment. Mom, she's been destroying my life for months, I protested. And we failed her first, Mom said firmly. Maya, you're going to face consequences for this. Legal ones, financial ones. But you're also going to get real therapy, whether you want it or not. The livestream hit 6,000 viewers as Uncle Tom finally managed to end it, but the damage was done. Screenshots and clips were already spreading across every social platform. Over the next week, the aftermath was swift and brutal, but not in the way I'd expected. Davidson and Associates didn't just fire Maya, they sent a letter to the State Bar Association detailing her fraudulent behavior. The community college launched a full investigation into both of us, but when they couldn't find any evidence to support Maya's claims about exam switching, they quietly dropped it. Stanford, horrified by the public spectacle, expedited their investigation and restored my actual admission status within 48 hours. But the real victory wasn't legal or academic, it was personal. Maya was required to attend intensive therapy as part of her plea agreement. Real therapy, not the performative sessions she'd been faking for years. And slowly, painfully, the truth started coming out. The resentment she'd harbored about being saved. The identity crisis of being the broken twin. The desperate need to feel in control of her own narrative, even if it meant destroying mine. I started therapy too, working through 3 years of believing I was responsible for Maya's well-being, and the guilt of realizing part of me felt relieved that everyone could finally see what I'd been dealing with. The family slowly began to heal. Dad stopped treating Maya like a victim and started holding her accountable. Mom learned the difference between helping and enabling. Our extended family stopped walking on eggshells, stopped treating our relationship like something fragile that might shatter. Maya had to withdraw from law school, pay restitution for the money she'd stolen and borrowed under false pretenses, and complete 2 years of community service. But for the first time in years, she was being honest about who she was and what she'd done. I went to Stanford that fall. Maya got a job at a nonprofit, working with at-risk teens. We barely spoke for months, then gradually started texting, then eventually agreed to joint therapy sessions. It would take years to rebuild trust between us. Maybe we never fully would. But at least now we were both living as ourselves, not as the saint and sinner, the savior and victim, the perfect daughter and broken one. Just Emma and Maya. Finally, honestly, ourselves.